Week 4, masks of masculinity. As I said in the last video, this is my favorite week to talk about this. This is what gets me going. Masculinity. The identity men feel compelled to conform to becomes the masks that cage us. So when we feel that we have to show up a certain way and it takes us out of alignment of how we truly want to show up, then that really cages us because it tells us, well, you can't show up in any other way. You have to show up this way. Yeah. Where a much healthier mentality is to say, okay, here's some structures, here's some guidelines, here are some healthy ways to show up, and I'm going to try to show up as best I can in those healthy ways. But when we feel like we have to show up a certain way, then it can be really damaging, especially when our entire identity becomes wrapped up in how we need to show up. Some statistics for you guys. Suicide is the #1 killer of men under the age of 44. #1. That means the most likely way that you or I could die is via suicide. It's by our own hand. That is the most likely statistically. If you were to place a bet, this is your best bet. That's insane, guys. That is insane. So we need to shift something. We need to change it. All right. And the answer, as I said in the last video, healthy masculinity. The biggest risk factor for long-term delinquency, antisocial behavior, and violent criminality in boys is fatherlessness. Let that sink in. So everything that we've been told, everything that people have been saying around toxic masculinity, that term that I absolutely hate, it's wrong. Okay? We need fathers in our lives. We need role models who are men in our lives, because without them, the result is long-term delinquency, antisocial behavior, and violent criminality in boys. So we need to embrace our masculinity. We need to embrace what it means to be a man and strive to show up in healthy ways. So what are the qualities of a modern man? I went over this with you guys in the last video. Authenticity, integrity, self-confidence and worth, drive and ambition, self-awareness, humility, vulnerability, empathy, compassion, good communication, and inner strength. These are the qualities of the modern man, okay? Almost every man has a story in which he learned through pain, humiliation, or even force how he does not measure up. When that happens to him, masks become more than hiding places. They become armor. Really powerful quote there by Lewis Howes. We've all got those stories, right? Think back to one of yours. Through pain, humiliation, or force that he doesn't measure up. You're not man enough. Yeah, that's the big, big piece of shame, embarrassment, humiliation, and pain that forces us to adopt masks that then become armor to protect ourselves. So get a notepad out right now and a pen, and you're going to draw up 3 columns on your page. Okay, first column at the top right, how or when do I show up in this mask? Second column, what can I learn about myself from this mask? Third column, what steps can I take to remove this mask? All right, do that now before going on. These are the masks. These are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 masks of masculinity. The ways that we think we need to show up as men. The joker, sexual, alpha, aggressive, material, athlete, stoic, invincible, and know-it-all. And I'm about to dissect each and every one of these for you guys. All right, so get a notepad out, get those 3 columns ready. First and foremost, the stoic mask. You don't like this role of bird with broken wing, especially since that's exactly how you feel. Right, those guys that get really triggered and angry when they see quote unquote weakness in other men or in other people, could be in their partner, right? And I say weakness because it's not really weakness, it's the human experience. But when they see that, it makes them so uncomfortable because it's reflecting back their own insecurities about themselves. You don't like this role of bird with broken wing, especially since that's how you feel. The stoic mask is the never let them see you sweat mentality. It's the man up. It's the keep going. It's the men don't cry mentality. It's the vulnerability equals weakness mentality, right? And some cool statistics here. So 71% of married men turn to their wives, 39% of married women turn to their husbands. What does that mean? It means that women have far richer networks of friends, family, and places of solace when they need help. Married men only go to their wives, 71%. So you need to build out a network around you that can support you. All right, starting now. Up come the walls with the stoic mask. On go the mask, up come the walls. And this equals lower levels of fulfillment. So what happens when we drop the stoic mask? When we realize I should be embracing my emotions, I should be sharing more, I should be embracing the full human experience. Emotional freedom, weight off your shoulders, deeper relationships with your friends and with women, healing, fucking healing. Again, you got to sit, you got to face it, you got to sit in your pain and your discomfort to heal it. Healthy heart, yeah. Vulnerability, you're able to step into, you give yourself permission to feel, and you gain true acceptance and belonging of who you are. You're no longer fighting with yourself to show up a certain way. You just go, this is how I am. This is how I'm going to show up. I'm going to heal this, face it, and then look to improve. How do we do this? 4 steps. Make a list of the 5 most painful moments of your life. Step number 2, once you've journaled about these painful moments, read them out loud to yourself. Give yourself permission to feel or cry about them when you hear your own words. Give yourself permission to feel what you need to feel. Step 3, share them with someone that you trust. Part of dropping this mask is allowing others to support you. Step number 4, look into hiring a coach, therapist, or someone who is a specialist. I said in the last video, if you're not already doing one-on-one work with me, see if I have an opening. Reach out. The athlete mask. He's a man who destroys himself running for a finish line that doesn't exist. The athlete mask, right? We associate masculinity with an athletic ability. We either have to be good at sports or we have to know a lot about sports. And there's nothing wrong with any of these masks. We're stepping in them from time to time, right? The stoic mask. There's nothing wrong with when you need to have your shit together and you need to get things done. You got deadlines. You got a family when you're older. You got friends that need you. There's nothing wrong with stepping into it and going, okay, I've got this. I'm good. Yeah. However, you cannot identify your entire worth with the mask. With this is what it means to be a man. Not healthy. Same thing with the athlete mask and the same thing with all these masks. There's nothing wrong with being a good athlete. Nothing wrong with it. But when we go, I'm a man because I am an athlete, that's where the danger lies. Because what happens when you're no longer the athlete? You feel like I'm no longer the man. The same thing with all of these masks. So we want to step away from that. And this is a great place to hide, right? Great place to hide is through the athlete mask, because we, as a society, really value athletes. So we can hide big time there. Again, what happens when the playing days are over? I remember when I was 18, I stopped playing footy. At 19 years old, when I stopped playing footy, 18 when I stopped playing basketball. How the fuck do I measure up now? I was only known for being good at sport. That was how I valued myself. That's how other people valued me. What now? It's very, very difficult to gain self-worth when you're completely tied up in any of these masks, but in the athlete mask. And I want you guys to understand this. You can't win arguments. There's no winning, right? Because even if you win, that means someone's lost. And if someone's lost, that means they resent you. And if someone resents you, that means you haven't won. So there is no winning of an argument. The athlete needs to win at all costs. So piles over or spills over into other areas of your life, which aren't healthy, especially when we're really in that mask. We have to be right all the time, because being right means that I'm winning, and being winning means that I'm an athlete. Yeah. So need to drop out of it. You become obsessed with your looks, performance, and winning become everything instead of values and principles. So you value your performance and winning. You don't value what you're learning along the way. Yeah. Athletes who do really well when they finish their careers say, and they take their values and principles that they worked on as an athlete. Those that really struggle only see themselves as an athlete. So athlete number one goes, well, I'm an athlete. I'm done playing. What the fuck now? Athlete number two goes, well, I'm disciplined. I'm persistent. I'm integrity driven. I'm a leader. I can take those and go somewhere else with it. I can take them into the workforce. Dropping the athlete mask, increased creativity. You're able to create a good and healthy culture around you, whether that's in your family or around your friends. You're able to step into new experiences because you're not worried about being the best. You can go, okay, well, I'm happy just learning. I'm happy being the student here. You're able to actually connect with other humans because not everything is a competition. Your self-worth will improve because, again, it's not tied to the athlete. It's not tied to performance. It's not tied to winning. You have a healthy relationship with your own image. Yeah, I'm more than just what I am on the field or on the court or whatever the sport is. Can create some balance in your life for once. And then you have time for the other things that you enjoy as well. Dropping the athlete masks, health, relationships, wealth, contribution, spiritual. Okay. Mental, physical, and emotional health will improve. Your relationships will improve. Your intimate, family, friends, your wealth, your finances, career, education, business will all improve. Contribution, making an impact in the world and other people's life, being of service. Okay, you can improve that when you drop it. And then spiritual, connecting to a higher power or your spiritual beliefs, mindfulness, whatever that looks like for you. The material mask. Okay, if you guys aren't deeply connected to this mask, you might see it in your role models. So especially for the younger guys who haven't entered the workforce, you might be like, well, what does this have to do with me? Well, what are you role modeling? What are you looking to in your role models? Are your role models people who are flashing cars and money and flexing on Instagram and TikTok and social media? Or are they people that you can feel and touch and they're real and they've got good values? It's a material mask. A man's ledger does not tell what he is or what he is worth. Count what is in him, not what is on him, if you would know what he is worth, whether rich or poor. Really passionate about stepping out of this mask, because what happens when someone comes along and offers you money to do something that you don't want to do? You've heard the saying, every man's got his price. Corruption in our government, in the leaders of society today is rampant. Why? Because we placed such a fucking high value on money instead of valuing our internal values, things that we actually care about. So this is a really dangerous mask to cultivate from a young age. Again, there is nothing wrong with making money. You want to make money? Great. Go and make money. Money can be a great tool. It can be a great tool. However, who are the role models you're looking up to? How is this playing out in your life? Because if all you care about is money, what happens when you're not making it? What happens when you take financial hits? What happens when you lose your job? What happens when all these things happen? You will crumble. This whole process is about smoothing out our edges, becoming a four-dimensional man. Yeah, it's about placing the value on the right things. You can value money without tying your identity to your ability to make money. All right. We know that the correlation between making money and being happy stops at $80,000. So you will get a little bit happier as your income rises until you get to 80,000. And then any money you make after that will not improve your happiness. Really important to note that. And this mask often compensates for shame and or anxiety in other areas of your life. Can be big, right? Oh, I'm not a very good husband, but I make lots of money. I'm not a very good friend, but I make lots of money. Oh, I'm fat and overweight, but I make lots of money. Yeah. So it compensates when we're in this mask. And wearing this mask compels you to highlight things that are not beneficial to establishing real lasting self-worth, because your money is external. It's an external thing and it's tied up with what you do versus who you are and how you're being. And we want to develop self-worth from a place of being and who we are. Whatever success you're after, keep in mind that someone has already had it, hated it, and deluded themselves into thinking that just a little bit more would solve their problems. That's meant to say. Incorrect. Incorrect. All right. I think it was Tupac or Biggie Smalls who said, more money, more problems. Okay. Money will not solve your problems. Dropping the material masks, increase fulfillment, real self-worthiness, inner peace, attracting in higher quality people, a feeling of I am enough, satisfied with your achievements, and a deep sense of gratitude. So we need to realize that we are valuable regardless of what we have. We need to recognize that while living behind the material mask, there will never be such a thing as enough. So you'll always be chasing something. So how do we fix this? Well, we gratitude practice. When you wake up, take out your journal, write down 3 things for which you're grateful for. Before you sleep, ask the last person you talk to for 3 things they are most grateful for from that day. And in reply, tell them what you're grateful for. Start meetings with your team or business partners with a moment of gratitude when you get older. Right now, maybe every time you hang out with your friends, right? Hey, what are you grateful for today, man? Cool. I'm grateful for this. You know, start conversations. Family dinner table. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for this. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this. It's fucking powerful to speak in gratitude. Acknowledge people daily with a few words that express what you're grateful for about them. Real powerful. The sexual mask. Now, you guys will be consumed by this. Okay, you will be consumed by this. Why do I say that? Because I know what it's like to be where you're at. In fact, I wore this mask forever. When I stopped playing sport and I dropped out of the athlete mask, it was so quick for me, I had no idea. I very quickly adopted the sexual mask. I very quickly figured out that my friends would cheer me on, get around me, laugh whenever I would get with a woman. And so I very quickly went athlete to sexual, and that's where I really attributed so much of my value as a man in this mask, my ability to court and get women and sleep with women. And it is a fucking dangerous place to be. Take it from me. I've been working at dismantling that mask for 5 years, longer, 7 years I've been working at this. And it's deep. And every time I heal one layer, it goes another layer deeper and another layer deeper. All right. A man's need to conquer women actually reveals a tremendous helplessness that made suckers out of them for years. I'll never forget one night, midnight, I had work the next day at 6 a.m. at the cafe. I'm in bed. It's about 11 o'clock at night or so, and a girl texts me to come over. I remember getting in the car and calling one of my best mates to him going, I don't think I'm in control right now. In fact, I'm not in control right now. I know I've got work tomorrow at 6 a.m. I'm exhausted. I'd had a huge day. I was trying to run a business whilst working part-time. My business was failing. I was not fulfilled at all, but what made me feel better in the short term was girls. And so they controlled me. I was not in control. They controlled me, right? It becomes a never-ending trophy hunt. So I remember in that moment going, man, I'm out of control here. I don't think this isn't good. Like, I'm not in an empowered place. I don't feel good about myself. It's not healthy. Once again, nothing wrong with wanting to be with women. Nothing wrong with wanting to get into a relationship. Nothing wrong with wanting to pursue your desires, but don't let your desires control you. All right. Don't let it become how you define yourself as a man, because it's a never-ending trophy. Nothing will be enough. For me, I cheated in all my relationships because this mask became so ingrained. It was deep, and I'm still working through it. right? There becomes a deep association of masculinity with sexual conquests, deep sense of emptiness, you become stuck in a cycle. You become that bird not able to land. You're constantly looking, constantly looking, constantly looking. For those of you that are a bit older that go out with mates, you've probably got a mate. Maybe you are that mate, you know, that goes out, all he's concerned about girls. He's not concerned about hanging out with his friends, having a drink, having fun, relaxing. No, he's out there and he's like a bird that can't land. He's just hunting. You know, it's not a good place to be. So become really aware of the conversations that you have, because if you're wearing this mask, all the conversations you have are about sex and relationships. That's all it becomes about. All right. And guys, great sex is emotional intimacy. I don't want you guys to forget that. All right. It's emotional intimacy. That is what we're all chasing, is connection. We're chasing emotional intimacy. That's what we want on a deep level. And we scratch that itch on this surface level. All right. So we need to break free of this surface level and realize what we really want, actually, if I'm honest, is emotional intimacy. Dropping the sexual mask, inner peace, worthiness, fulfilling intimate relationships, feeling grounded, centered. You're not flighty. You're not like looking around, chicks. And you can find a true partner. And that's what we're after. When we're really honest, that's what we're after. How do we drop it? Ask yourself these questions. What are you avoiding? Are you trying to fill a void? For me, it would get to 9, 10 o'clock at night. And if I wasn't with a girl, I'd be looking for one in my phone. I'd hate being alone at night. I hate it. So it's my goal that you guys don't get to that place. You might be thinking, oh, it's not that bad right now. But unless you start changing, unless you start putting in place healthier ideas around what it means to be a man, you'll go down that path. And it's a fucking dangerous rabbit hole. Make a list of the things you might be avoiding and then create an action plan. Learning how to be alone is key. How to love yourself. Make a list of all the things in your life you feel guilty for and forgive yourself. Write a letter to yourself explaining all the things that you love about yourself. Again, guys, if you're sitting there laughing, sniggering, thinking this is stupid, no one's going to see this stuff. This can be just between you and yourself. You can burn it, throw it out for all I care when you're done, but do this stuff, especially if you guys listening going, geez, I notice everything's about chicks for me at the moment. Everything, that's all I care about. Step in, start to ask these questions. The aggressive mask. In the meanest are all the materials of manhood, only they are not rightly disposed. It took me a long time to figure out what this means, right? You think about who we look up to in movies or who we love watching. We love watching the gangsters, right? The gangster movies we love to watch. Why? Because they don't take shit from anyone. We value that as men. I want to stand up from what I believe in. But in the meanest, right, in the aggressive mask, it goes too far. Those values that we do like in men, we do like in masculinity, they are not rightly disposed because they're out with their anger, their pain, it's aggression, right? When we can come from a centered place and go, I want to stand for my boundaries. I want to stand for what's right. I want to use these qualities that I've developed in a positive way. Bang, you've hit the sweet spot. But removing the aggressive mask is the key. We don't want to become associated with, well, to be a man, you have to be angry. You've got to be aggressive. You've got to be strong. You've got to be this. Yeah, it's not true. The pain you inflict onto others never reduces the pain you were trying to escape from within yourself. All my mates from high school, I remember the angriest and the ones that were really, really stuck in the aggressive mask, they were hurting the most. By far were hurting the most. Okay. Even when we're successful, we can only become beneficial in one place. So what that means is, even when we're successful, all right, we are still angry. We're still wearing the aggressive mask. All right. The issue is when aggression is the only outlet for pain. Anger is the only emotion that we're allowed to feel. That's a problem, massive problem. Okay, we need to be able to feel the full range, because underneath anger is hurt, sadness, frustration, all these other ranges of emotion. Think of the integration of the shadow, channel it, study it, learn about it, drop it. Okay, if you don't know what the shadow is, look it up, start to aggress. If you are deeply stuck in this aggressive mask, I'm angry all the time, I'm always fighting with people, have a look. What's going on in your shadow? Don't know what the shadow is? Look into what the shadow is. Drop in the aggressive mask. Again, inner peace, emotional control. Show up from a place of responsiveness instead of reactiveness. Responsiveness looks like something happens to me and I can take a deep breath and respond from a place of integrity, respond from a place where when I look back, I go, I'm really happy with how I handled that. Reactiveness is something happens and I'm bang and I react. And then when I look back, I'm like, fuck, why'd I say that? Why'd I do that? Why? Why did that happen? Because we're wearing the aggressive mask. Deeper self-awareness. You can forgive yourself and others. You have more patience and true strength. True strength. Okay? Drop in the aggressive mask. Create a wrecking room in your house where you can get it out easily. All right? Fit it with things that you're allowed to smash, push, hit, or pummel. If you can't get a room, get a pillow. Sit on your bed and just wallop the pillow, right? 2, do cathartic shouting exercises once a week. 3, take a boxing class or work out if you're not working out. Get that energy out into healthier ways. Create affirmations that you say when you feel yourself getting aggressive. I am peaceful, joyful, loving man. I am peaceful, joyful, loving man. Come up with your own. Yeah? Take a deep breath. Meditation's good for this stuff. Make a list of people who hurt you, people you're angry at, and then write out exactly who they were, what they did to you, and how it made you feel. Let it live on the page, not in your head on loop. I remember I would come home, and if I had a stressful day at school, or if I didn't play well on the weekend, or if training was shit, my mum asked me a question, or my dad asked me a question, I get angry at them straight away. I had no idea, had nothing to do with them. I'd go to my room going, why did I just yell at them? That was weird. They didn't do anything. They just asked how my day was. It was because there were other things in my life I weren't addressing. So make a list of those things, whether it's people that hurt you or things that you're angry at. Write out exactly what they are. The Joker mask. Yeah. Humor can be used as a mask that shields both the wearer and those around him from the pain underneath. If you all know Robin Williams, one of the funniest men alive, suicided. Think about those people in your life where whenever you try to have a serious conversation with, they take it back to humor. That's the Joker mask. They're unable to have serious conversations. And whenever it starts to get serious, they deflect with humor. Because the effects of making someone laugh are reminiscent of a fast-acting drug. You feel instantly better and the results are addictive. So you always just want people laughing around you. You want to be laughing. Whereas that really is blocking you from feeling what's going on underneath and addressing it. Again, can't address what's going on underneath unless you first feel it. So we need to drop out of the Joker mask. Again, nothing wrong with making people laugh, but we don't want to identify our manliness and our manhood with our ability to make people laugh. Okay? Deflecting pain with humor so they never have to feel it. The opposite of pain is pleasure or joy, and that's the thing they want to focus on the most, the thing they don't have. Too much positivity is not a good thing. And focusing on other people's challenges, right? Not a good thing. Dropping the Joker mask. Be able to create deep relationships. Why? Because you're no longer deflecting with humor. You're like, oh, hey man, I noticed that you just said that you're a bit stressed. I made a joke. I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have made a joke. Let's talk about that. Catch yourself out when you go into that place. Again, worthiness, richer experiences are acknowledge of all your gifts, not just your humor. People taking you seriously. Healing, connection, feeling of enough. Remember, there is a time and a place for everything. Give yourself permission to feel and connect, as not everything is a joke. Ask yourself before making a joke, is it appropriate to be laughing in this moment? And again, what am I trying to avoid? The invincible mask. No man is invincible, and therefore no man can fully understand that which would make him invincible. Even with complete and thorough study, there is always a possibility of being defeated. And although one may be expert in a particular form, mastery is something a man never stops seeking to attain. So we're always trying to improve. We're always trying to find new ways of doing things, new understandings of ourselves, new understandings of the world. All right, that idea that men don't quit, men don't give interfere, men push past what is safe. For me, this came out in drink driving. I'm invincible, legit. Thought I was invincible. I drank, drove every weekend for 6 months at least, and then I finally got caught, and that was the wake-up call I needed. Thank God no one got hurt, but I got caught, and that was the wake-up call. What the fuck am I doing? right? Risk-taking behavior is really highly associated with this mask. Poor decisions are made from this, whether that's in business, sports, relationships. Risk after risk is taken. Eventually, you will attempt something that jeopardizes everything you've built. You know, that hubris mentality, that arrogant mentality. I've got Conor McGregor there on the right. Man, did he have that invincible mask, you know? Look at him now. Lost 3 out of his last fights. We are men, not machines. We have limits. We all have limits. And understanding those limits is healthy. It's a good thing. Okay? Dropping the mask, what will happen? Fulfilled, healthy lifespan, deeper relationships, self-esteem goes through the roof. True courage, the permission to just be and not constantly do, and a sense of belonging. You're not having to prove yourself. You can just sit in how you're feeling and what you're doing. Write down these answers and place where you will see them every day. What is valuable to me? What do I value about my life? What risk activities do I regularly engage in? What am I looking for in these activities? Can I get those things elsewhere in my life? How are the risky behaviors and activities? How can they be scratching an itch that I have? Okay, you identify the itch that you have. How can you get that scratched elsewhere? The know-it-all mask. It's what you learn after you know it all that counts. We all have so much to learn. You can be reading on one topic for 50 years and still be a novice in it. So what do we want to do? 2 ears, 1 mouth. Treat everyone as if they've got something useful to say. Even the idiots can teach you what not to say, right? So 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you speak. This man needs to fill the void with the sound of his own voice. He's really uncomfortable with silence. He's really uncomfortable with not knowing the answers. All right? And understand that nobody really knows what they're doing anyways. We're all just trying our best. Know-it-alls are almost always the people who fail to persuade, even though it appears that persuasion is all they seek. No one really likes a know-it-all. People like someone with answers, so it comes in the way that you communicate. However, no one likes the know-it-all. So you need to be open to your failures. And that will actually draw people to you. It shows great strength, admitting where you're wrong. Humility, again, characteristics of the modern man. The know-it-all make everyone else feel stupid. They reject new learnings for fear of seeming like they didn't know anything. Yes, how are you guys showing up in that? How can you step out of it? Dropping the mask. People will want to be around you more when you drop this mask. You'll have the freedom to not know. Someone asks you a question, I don't know. People can smell your bullshit too when you're in this. People can smell it. You think, because you're in the know-it-all mask, you think that they can't because you think that you know better than them, but they can tell. You'll have the ability to learn and grow. You can step back and be the novice and learn, and then, only then, can you actually become someone who knows something. You're able to build upon your wisdom from others, deeper intimacy, and support from others. You're able to ask in help. Practice the art of listening to understand. Hear, not to respond and not to be right. Hear just to understand. Treat everyone as though they have something that they can teach you. Empty your cup, as the Buddhists would say. All right, empty your cup. You cannot fill up a cup that's already full. If you're a know-it-all, you can't take on any more knowledge. Empty a cup and you can bring on new knowledge. The alpha mask. With the primal urge to be alpha comes extreme heartbreak. The harder we fight, the harder we fall. This is the bully. This is the bully archetype, the hostage taker, right? Establishing alphaness shows profound weakness. Okay, their behavior is often focusing on covering up their own insecurities. Think of a bully. They're insecure and they're trying to out-alpha the world in order to show that they have no insecurities. Arrogance is the armor worn by hollow men. Whew, that is powerful. Arrogance is the armor worn by hollow men. There's nothing going on. They're so insecure that you'll figure out their game. So insecure that you figure out that they're not alpha. So they try to out-alpha each and every time. Okay? People that truly care about us, that truly love us, rarely care how alpha we are. Removing this, you're able to create win-win situations and scenarios. You're able to become the hero who lifts other people up, which is really what the alpha wants. It's just coming out in the wrong way. The joy of being in service to others, you can empower other people around you, letting go of being in control, true freedom, and a deeper sense of love. Removing the mask. All right. Try to look for win-win scenarios where there are no losers. A true leader doesn't need to be right in order to feel worthy. He's able to feel worthy. He's able to see the best idea from anyone and bring it to light. Ask yourself, what does losing mean to you? Why is self-worth wrapped up in winning? What could be possible if everyone around you could win? And what would be possible for you, your family, the world? Let us revere the one who loves others deeply, loves himself deeply, and has a dream that he is inspired to live with and by and through. He is a man. Big week this week, boys. Right? We all want to be men, but what kind of men are we going to be? We get to decide. We get to forge our own identity. We get to forge ourselves into the men that we want to become. Okay? So what kind of man are you going to become? What kind of men are you showing up as today? So this week's challenge, daily journal prompts on male role models and why they are your role models. All right. So for example, my male role model is my dad. This might be day one, my dad. Why? Well, I really look up to this. I really look up to that. I really like the way that he shows up in the house. I like the fact that he seems to be calm under pressure. I like the way that he communicates. All right. I like the way that he's in service of other people. He's really caring and empathetic. That is this week's challenge, boys. Okay. Rise, young kings, rise.